been listening to your voice. You loved making jokes when you were a kid.
I was so shy. And I think the only way I could combat that would be to have some little shock value or something, you know, because I do. Even then I froze up, but yeah. Oh, because I pretended I lost my earrings. Yeah, I was like, wait, I'm trying to think which diabolical mean baby thing I did. I'm amused, but mostly the thing that genuinely makes me laugh is...
You will tell me more about it when we go to the studio. We just arrived at the Prime Minister's office now, so we're driving in. And we're going to meet Maximus, the cat, I hope.
I just started following Maximus today.
You started following Maximus?
Yes.
We have to tell him.
Yes, I did.
Oh, it's a pleasure to
Welcome.
Please follow me.
Yeah, of course.
We'll leave him right there.
No, you can approach.
No,
Of course you
no.
can. He looks totally unbothered by
I
the
have to
present.
tell you, I don't like to be bothered either when I'm sunning. I told you I wouldn't bother you, but I couldn't resist. I want to eat him.
He doesn't mind.
He doesn't bite.
He doesn't mind.
He really doesn't, truly.
No, really doesn't.
Oh, he did mind.
It's not you. It's not you, it's the camera. He's worried about the camera.
He's a smart cat.
You're gorgeous.
So do the handshake to the camera as well.
Thank you. That is really generous.
Yeah,
That is
I just
really
saw it popping
wonderful.
in. Yeah. He has been very supportive.
It didn't happen.
Non. Coucou ma chérie, je vais maintenant enregistrer un podcast, donc je ne pourrai pas décrocher sur le téléphone pendant une heure.
Thank you.
Hi Selma, welcome in Europe, welcome in the European Parliament. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much. Mep Kanko. It feels so funny. You know, I forget how familiar I am with you, and then I realize how important you are. And before you begin your maiden voyage of this podcast, I would like to say the honor to be here with you is one of the most incredible things, because I admire so intensely your commitment to humanity, to women's rights, to even as small as a woman across the world that you saw.
Look at who is
somewhere
saying
in.
that.
I know,
Look at who is
but you
saying
know,
that.
I am
mean,
so
I'm
impressed with you. I would say other people's lines, and I know nothing about politics, and I came so overwhelmed, you know, of European politics, and it's not my area, but to just know you as a human being and the way you are as a leader has been one of the most gratifying experiences of my past 10 years. You know, really the best, and you will be with me forever. But also, I think
you
we're
so much.
friends,
Thank you
but
so much.
as who you are and what you do.
Thank you, Selma. I mean, I wanted to say, look at Selma is here. Like, I admire you so much. You're one of the most resilient people that I know, and you have such an amazing life path, and that's why I would like people to see what I see and to share with them what I've been learning from you.
Thank
so
you.
We're going to have the conversation today, Selma. You are a great actress, you are an author, you are a photographer, and you are a designer. You design eyeglasses as well.
Yes.
You are a single mother, and you were shining in movies like Legally Blonde that we all saw.
Yes, exactly.
in Cruel Intentions, in People vs. O.J. Simpson. You did so many things.
I was so fortunate to finish college and start in a career where I played someone that was new at something, because I'm very good at being a beginner, I realize. So,
what do you mean with being a beginner?
I'm very good at it because I feel, you know, there's parts of life, we go through it, and then maybe we fail. Or like the end of college, I thought I'd go off to graduate school, but I didn't. But instead, I went on, you know, to New York and went and became an actress and, you know, wanted to be a photographer. And there's so many things, but I kept finding people that would inspire me and pick up my path. And so there was a time, instead of feeling like a failure, I felt like a beginner at everything, so you have a chance to keep doing. And now I'm on this adult path in my life, and I know you were asking about me. I'm always so excited. I'm so excited for the world to see you as someone that can bring out the best in people, as this, you know, on this maiden voyage that you're on of this experience here. But it was a very strange thing to be a college girl, and then a bit in that movie star world, that I admired these people so much and was a part of things that were really memorable in American nostalgia.
It requires also, so you were quite young when you started. It requires a lot of responsibility to actually manage yourself at that stage. And this is what you have been writing a lot also about in this book that I would like to show. And you seem to me, we've been talking the past couple of days, and we also met with other inspiring women, and you connected, you shared stories with each other. And, you know, you have been doing some introspection and exploring ways to always become a better person. And it sounded to me like you are so strict with yourself. So how is
I had a critical mother. I think it comes from that. And
how is your relation with yourself now? Are you trying to be kinder?
I am trying to be kinder. I go through periods like anything where something triggers that little shame in ourselves, you know. But that is something that I'm not married to anymore. Shame. And I know that shame and guilt are nothing you can ever move through, or else you'll just be stuck there, and that's no good to yourself or anybody or your child. So I think I am getting better, yes. And of course, once I had a child, it changes everything, because I did not become the focus or take the brunt of whatever was going, because I knew that I wanted to learn to be a good mother, you know, and being a beginner as a mother, you're in full force, you know, so I wanted to be a better example for him than I was in my younger years, with confidence. But he does say I'm a critical mother, just like my mother. And I was like, oh, you've not seen anything, kiddo.
Maybe we all end up becoming our mothers, like we just...
I know. I mean, I really sound like my mother, everything. And when I wrote this book, my mother passed away, and
I'm sorry.
Thank you, but thank you. Yes, it was hard in COVID to not see, not to be with the woman that that brought you into this world, that you are so loyal and love. And I never thought, you know, I would never be able to bury my mother or any of that. And life brings some really heartbreaking, simple things for everybody. And I think that's what I realized as I made a commitment to changing and being a better person when I was diagnosed, because I realized that was all I could really do. And yeah, it's very strange how life works.
But with you, it has always been about, you know, you are looking, you speak in your book about your childhood, and you are looking even for a name that can fit you. And you're struggling with names. You're like Blair, like Lisa. You told this woman at the playground that you were Lisa.
Yes.
So where is that Selma Blair comes from? What is your name become now? It's a matter of identity for you.
Yes, it's funny. I didn't realize teachers would say it to me too. I was born baby girl Beitner. I don't have a name on my original birth certificate. It was reissued 3 years later because my mother couldn't decide what to name me.
What was on your birth certificate?
Baby girl.
Baby
and
girl.
Beitner was my original last name.
Okay.
It was my father's last name, but German. But there was no name. But when I had to start, they called me Bear because I had a fuzzy little forehead, a low forehead, and you know, you have to rub it to make some hair. So they'd be like, oh, we need to make some space for the forehead, they joke. So they call me Bear. And so my mother, when I had to go to school, they had to come up with a name. So it was Selma, after her friend who died when I was born, and a woman that was kind to her and wanted her to succeed and gave her entire wardrobe when she was left with nothing, you know, and Selma had this great wardrobe. So and I think that's one of the reasons why I love clothes so much. And Blair, I was named after a Supreme Court judge, Blair Moody. And my mother was an attorney. But I never wanted to be called Selma. It just felt like a name I didn't grow into. It felt like a woman that had lived and died. And as a young girl, I wanted to be just like everybody else. And Lisa was a name I would tell people, but then I'd always get caught telling whoppers. My mother would say, her name isn't Lisa. So, and then I changed it to Selma Blair. I dropped that, you know, kind of clunky last name as I ventured out on my own, becoming an actress, and had estrangement with my father, all these things, and picked a new middle name too, Selma James Blair. And I like James the most, and no one even knows that's my name. So I'll write that in the next book. Live the life of
How
James.
old were you when you finally got a name?
Well, no, I was probably 4 when I had when I had a new birth certificate made with a name, and then now I have a new one that's legally Selma James Blair. But that happened, you know, before I was even an actress.
But when I read your chapters of your book and I listened to some of them, it's your own voice on the audiobook.
Yes.
And it sounds like this was a big deal for you, that you really struggled with the fact, like, I want to be defined, I want to have a name. And then all the rest is about identity, and it's about a reconciliation with who you are, and also finding yourself. And you were aware of something going on that you couldn't define either. So how deep is that in your life?
I think it was the through line of my life was searching. I mean, the title of the book is Mean Baby, and this isn't all about the book. This is just, obviously, this was an anchoring point of letting go of Mean Baby in a way. But I became so fond of Mean Baby because it's such a paradox, if that's the right word. But it was because I didn't have a name, and the neighbors came over.
And they called
said,
you
"Don't
Mean
go
Baby."
over there. The Beitners have a mean baby," you know. And I was always kind of sick and
Why did they call you Mean
hospitalized.
Baby?
I don't know. I guess I hadn't
You
developed.
don't know, you were a baby,
I hadn't
of course.
developed a charm yet.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
imagine, yes.
Yeah.
I think it's just funny that a baby could be like, but I did have a glower. There's not many pictures because I was raised in the 70s, so I've made up for it now. I get in front of a camera whenever I can, say, I exist, I exist.
Selma Blair,
yes.
beautiful name.
Thank you, I do love it.
Look, we're speaking about women empowerment, and one of the things that can really lead to true leadership is accepting vulnerability, embracing it. So for you, what is something that people are assuming about you that is completely wrong?
What are people assuming? I don't know. I have no idea. That's one thing I learned, that I have no idea what people assume anymore. And I do feel, I mean, I have no idea what people think, truly. And there's so much noise out there for all of us. And you're quite famous. And you realize, okay, if I paid attention to that, I only care about what the few people. But I am I was a people pleaser my whole life. I did, and I was searching, and I wanted love and attention, and I had a mother that adored me more than life itself, but she was not a very maternal, nurturing type. She was really career-oriented, and I wanted to be so capable in life. And then it's so funny, the one thing I do, my mother always said, no, you'll write a book, I'll be an editor, you'll write more books, you'll be a writer. And I thought, oh, that's something I can do. When I finally write the book and I go to record it, and I just dawned on me right then, you know, it's like, my mother's dead. I could barely speak. I was still recovering from some dystonia that I used to have more frequently, that now I just can trigger it. It kind of comes on by accident. And I realized my mother's gone. I had gone through something so traumatic the day before. And
it's about having your diagnosis, was it at that time or not yet?
No, the diagnosis has already happened, and I was fine with it. No, it's so funny, the things that make me fall apart, and I'll feel shame. Like I said, I could never listen to the audiobook because it's just
because you
like
were
a little
emotional.
too raw and emotional, and you think, oh God, do I not come off as capable? But you have to forgive yourself and say that's where I was on that day, and that's what this book meant to me.
But that's how the book is written. It's actually, when I read it, you're writing your book with your heart.
Yes,
actually.
It's a very emotional, simple memoir.
And so when you speak about your book and when you record the words that you have written, it's normal that the emotion you felt when writing will also show in what you're saying. But
well, I'm so
you feel very uncomfortable about it.
I didn't know that being vulnerable was okay. Instead, I would just
you learn to be vulnerable.
But it was when I came out with the diagnosis, and it was actually on social media, and Just came out with it naturally. I wasn't planning on telling people, but I was really exhibiting symptoms.
Just so that people know with us.
Yes.
You know, as a child, you fought for
Oh,
your
yes.
name, you fought for your identity, and
Thank
you
you.
knew also at age 7, you told me, you knew that there was something
Yes.
wrong, but nobody, just like with your name, nobody put like an identification of what you
Yes.
knew
that is so...
was wrong.
Gosh, you're so thoughtful. These simple, but it is true.
And
I
then
mean,
you
I
found
realize
out.
now I really have, you know, in my younger years, really struggle with who's Blair, what am I doing, and why? And I would look at people. Yes, you asked me this earlier, and I got off track, but people,
No,
I
you
was
didn't.
searching
It's linked
for...
to. It's
Thank
linked.
you. It's linked. Thanks. It
It's
all
linked.
comes around.
Yeah,
It all
because
comes around.
it's an identity also. You
Yes.
wanted to know what was wrong and why you didn't feel well, why you were always tired.
I was
and
always
nobody
tired.
Told you what was
I
going
always
on.
had bladder issues, which is very shameful as a little girl, you know, to have something that could be so, which I find out later is very typical. No one's MS is the same, but it is a very typical issue to have the things that were happening to me. And, you know, and I was searching. I was at pain centers. I had the access to very good care. And there was a point when I finally, and I would either cry or laugh uncontrollably and inappropriately. And I think that's where I developed some of my goofiness. When I don't know what to do in a moment, I would, you know, so thank God I went into Hollywood. But get me
What
back
did
on
they
track.
tell you instead of
Yes, thank
diagnosing
you.
what
It
was
was
wrong?
a really
You
shocking
asked
thing.
them and they didn't tell you what was wrong.
No, I
What
had
did they tell you?
fevers, I lost my vision. No, it turned out, you know, they said, I think she's just clinically depressed. And I said, but the pain,
So
like
they
the
thought you were
pain.
depressed.
And so then I was treated with, very strong, you know, tricyclic antidepressants from a very young age. And I would go and say, no, this isn't helping. And, you know, I can't sleep. And the kidney, there's so many issues. And no one would give me an MRI. It was CAT scans and things. And I knew nothing. It never occurred to me that I had a neurological degenerative disorder occurring that young. And juvenile MS is very slow growing typically, I think. So it can be missed. So I'm not trying to, but I was really caught in a space and I would just look to other people like, how do you do it? Do you wake up and does your neck hurt?
And just feel energy.
And I would just say this to kids, you know, even my siblings or kids in school, like, how do you get through the day? Like, how do you eat without throwing up? And then that wasn't eating disorders or things. It's just there's muscles that were like kind of offline or something. And so I really did struggle. I really felt like I was always trying to catch up and figured out how people could do it. And so I felt very ashamed that I felt, you know, I couldn't hack it in this world. So I was very afraid to grow up. And I thought, God, if I already feel this much pain and this much fatigue, and I'm 7 years old and I stopped seeing for a month and all this pain, but then my vision comes back, well, I guess I must be crazy because I knew nothing. And so as a beginner, and so to get a diagnosis finally after so many years searching, because after I had my son.
How many years later, when you became a mother?
It took so many years after I became a mother, because as a woman, so many things can be blamed on menstruation, hormonal, oh, you have postpartum depression. As soon as I gave birth, I said, I can't move. Like, I can't move my legs. The pain is incredible. And I couldn't stay awake. I mean, it was it was brutal. I mean, I begged people, I begged the doctor, there's something wrong. And they said, no, this is postpartum depression. And, you know, your ligaments change. And so it's just stiffness. And I thought, oh my gosh, I really can't hack it. Like, I am as helpless and hopeless.
You felt like you were weak.
I felt like I was weak. And I think I did get into a habit of apologizing.
And then you got a diagnosis. And then
I
you
got a
decide
diagnosis years.
to face it.
2011, my son was born. I searched all those years. I asked every mother. And then in 2018, when I finally had to go back to work because I was unable for a long time and keeping it very secret,
you decided to be honest
I was
about
in
it.
too much pain to get on a plane. And no, I found out. I went to a doctor. I said, no, I can't get on the plane. I must work. The pain is incredible. And so we started on that journey that day, and I put out a message on social media. Someone need help me. I must have pinched a nerve because I can't move my leg, and the pain is so intense, and it's been going on. And so it just was by hook or by crook. It was an old friend, Elizabeth Berkeley, that saw my post and said, oh, you have to go to my brother. And I went to her brother. I said, I gotta go. You know, he's looking at my MRI of my neck. He said,
And the brother was a doctor?
The brother's a neurologist, a spinal neurologist,
Okay.
a spinal neurologist. And I had been to many neurologists in my life, but it was constantly, even when I had tics or dystonia happening at 23, which is the movement and speech things start happening, vocal dystonia.
Yes.
I also was just told, oh, it's, you know, because you were sad or you overdosed. These are things in my book, but a little bit, so I'm not telling tales out of school. But it was, so then it was blamed on, oh, you took too many pills on an overdose, you know, of antidepressants or something. I just took them all one day to just say, I have to be done with this agony. And so I was like, you know, I had movement problems, and he would say, well, it's a bit of brain distress from all that medicine. It'll burn off, you know. And so it would.
When
So
I
it
listened
took
to your
years.
story, it must have been so scary, actually, that you actually felt, we discussed it earlier, like you felt that people could not hear you as, you know, as a person. You felt very lonely. And then when you're facing pain that cannot be explained, you are not heard either by any physician until so many years pass. You are an adult,
so many years
you become a
until this
mother,
doctor, I
and
fell
then you
asleep in his
finally
office.
find it. And when you have the diagnosis, what you told me earlier is that you feel relieved because finally you know what's going on, and then you want to share your story because you want to be to be authentic.
Yes.
You want to.
I
know,
was
you're not
still
afraid
too scared. I was still
of
too scared to
vulnerability.
share my story. It took me months until I had devolved. I wasn't getting better. I thought, oh, now I know. There could be a magic pill, and I could be better all of a sudden. So I had so much hope. And then it kept getting worse, and the flare wouldn't go away. So I did tell people. And that response changed me. I had never had so many people interested and seen. And I realized something, you know, about, you know, just visibility and then wanting to help
could
people
connect with
and they
you
could
about
connect.
that, yeah.
And I, for the first time, had a connection with people. Oh, I'm a regular human. I just have a disease. I actually have a disease. I am not crazy and making this up
But you
because I was so afraid to be crazy.
You felt some pressure to not share that story.
Yes,
That
of
people would.
course. Because
So-
as a woman or anyone, especially in a field that I thought was the only thing I would be qualified to do was to be, you know, an actress, you want to maintain some sense of composure, some sense of being able to not just be a dramatic woman that's just an actress. Because I did live a whole life before I became an actress, and I went to university, and I did things. So it was one of the greatest gifts to be vulnerable and made me
How did you feel when you were about to share your story and say, this is what I'm going through, I would like the world to know, and I just don't want to keep it for myself anymore? How did you feel when you were about to do
didn't
that?
think people would even care. I didn't think there'd be a response.
But how did you feel?
I felt maybe a little nervous, but I also felt like I was only going to get worse, and so there was no choice but to tell people, you know, at that point when
At
I
that
did come
point,
out,
yeah.
because I could no longer walk clearly and was using a cane. People were starting to say things, or they were assuming like I was making fun of people when my voice
When
would
your voice
devolve.
was,
And, you know, I was like, no, I'm not trying to sound this way. This is just something that's happening and I don't understand it. So it was kind of a mea culpa, but it was also to thank the people that helped me.
Yeah, but you told me earlier during this
Yes.
conversation that you are like, you seem like you finally are more looking inward on how to become the person you want
Well,
to be.
then when I found out I wanted to
When
commit
did you
to life
start?
and to
Yeah.
getting better truly, because the feeling better from MS didn't come quickly. It took a lot of searching and finding the right doctor and in time, and it wasn't linear and easy. I mean, it took 7 years to start feeling better from diagnosis, and I had already had it, God knows how many years. So what did you ask about?
I wanted to know actually when, you know, at a certain point in life, when you learn enough, you start looking more inward to be the person you want to become.
I finally felt safe enough
And
to
when
look
did
inward.
so that's the
It
moment you
was
stop
really-
comparing yourself with others or stop
Yes.
letting others' judgment guide your life? When
Yes,
was
I
that?
think I knew this was a problem for me. I knew that I was my own worst enemy, because that's all we really have is ourselves and our love for our children and, you know, generation past it and our children. And it comes down to us, and that is it. And I knew that I wanted to learn how to be the leader of my own life with some grace and acceptance, because I had put myself through a lot too, you know, and my whole life. And some of it would be judged very harshly by myself and other people, and rightfully so as a younger girl. But I really knew I had to make this choice, and I had no idea how to do it. Yes. I had no idea how to be kinder to myself, and I wasn't one that liked to read self-help books.
But you knew you had to.
But I knew I had to.
What made you be so sure that you had to?
Because I knew when there was a possibility I might not live that long, and that my abilities would go, and I couldn't make a living to take care of my child. And I knew that there's no other choice. I mean, of course. And so it's like, I will search and I will find a way to really learn to be nicer to myself.
You're so strong.
I think necessity is the mother of invention, right? I mean, the things that I never thought that I cared as much about people as I did, because I was always so afraid of them because they seemed so much more competent and happy than I was.
You felt less capable.
I felt less than and less capable, and how will I keep up? Yeah. And so I did push myself hard. I mean, if someone gave me a task, I'm great. Left to my own devices, I flounder for a long time and in wondering. But I was very much wanting to please. And I realized also on set that I love making people happy. And that I was happy at that time very much being a supporting actress and a team player. I didn't have these great ambitions for a spotlight or a star, but I did want to make a living, and I did want to have good days and tell stories. And I just didn't know how to tell my own without just blaming myself for everything. So
you did say you prefer to make, you've learned that you prefer to make people laugh instead of making yourself cry.
Yes, I prefer to make people laugh more than I like to make myself cry. And it is very challenging to rewire your brain, but then I'll get back into the knowing of, I'm just somebody that is a hope, and if one person finds any hope that has shame or given up or just doesn't know what to do, then just by me showing up or me also admitting, like, I am a constant beginner until you're not, you know, that we have to try in life, that sometimes it's not that easy, and that I wanted so much to make other people feel better in their lives,
what do you
whatever
do
it was.
To make yourself feel better?
To make myself feel better, I make friends with people like you. To make myself feel better. No, for me, it is something that does make me feel better, to meet people who are meeting life and not just going for glory. They're really making a difference to people. And I didn't always have the energy to do that. But when I realized just being myself and being honest, there's always slings and arrows of outrageous fortune you can get yourself in. But if you do just think of yourself with humility, but also greatness, because we are all entitled to keep searching for that.
Very well, like connecting with each other, like we connected last night with a couple of women, connecting with people, sharing, learning, growing.
Yes,
this is where you find the energy to advance.
And
what did you feel most judged about?
I felt...
Because women face, you know, when you want to lead your life, or you want to lead in business, or you want to lead like in entertainment or wherever you are, you will face judgment, and this judgment becomes a sound, an inner sound, and that can become the language you use to talk to yourself, and then it keeps you from reaching your goals.
It's funny.
What did you feel most judged about?
I felt most judged by myself. There was no one that really mattered. I had such a critical mother that it was almost a love language, though. If someone were to criticize me or judge me, it almost meant they cared because they were considering me. You know, just thinking. And I know a lot of people do feel that way. Whenever I feel judged or feel not enough, I think when I was a new mother, and because I was so sick, I felt very judged by other young mothers, or like, you know, and I was a single mother because I didn't have a lot of energy, and I also didn't know that I had something called pseudobulbar affect that was part of it that makes you sometimes inappropriate with crying or laughter or rage, you know, anger. And it was a neurological component. It is not depression. It was a neurological distress from having, you know, so much inflammation or damage in the brain. And that was something that I wished I could be like someone who was like my mother, who didn't never let anyone see her sweat. I admire her no matter how critical she was. So criticism to me and being judged, I didn't feel it as an actress. That was something that being harder on myself than anyone else. I never felt competitive in a way that hurt me. And I only wished the best for every single person that went out for roles or trying things. Because I do believe that in life. I do believe if we lift other people up and it's not to our detriment or family to us, then we are only helping ourselves because we are in this existence together. And if there is a way, I mean, that just had to be my saving grace, was the kindness of strangers thanking me for still trying. And I thought, well, of course, I might not have everything lined up in my life and know how to do it, but I just keep trying. I did when I was younger, and I did give up all the time. You know, I had a lot of suicide attempts as a young girl.
You didn't, and you
I
tried.
didn't, and
you
I'm
always
here, and
tried.
I'm still trying. And now I can say, just like I was hearing Eric Dane say to his children the other day, and he's someone I came into this business with, and recently he died of ALS, and he said to his girls, I might not have been perfect, but I tried. I stumbled, but I tried, and we had a hell of a time, didn't we? You know, something along those lines. And I thought,
the way you came up, it came out of your story. We have been talking on social media for a while now, and I see you just, you know, showing like you want to connect with people, you want to do something for people, and you want to, you know, I see you with your dog, your service dog on social media, and what you want to do is to mean something for patients. You've turned your story into an empowering way, like to support patients so that their voice are heard, but also women so that their voice is heard.
It's
and
something I
to
so
go back
authentically
to work
understand,
as an actress as well.
and something that I didn't really know if I'd go back to acting, but I did know that I
And now
loved
you're
the
about to go back.
community. Yes,
You're about to go back to acting.
And
Are you excited?
I am, but I have the advocate. I am so excited, but it also seeing how hard it was to be a patient or to not be diagnosed, and then to realize I knew nothing about MS, and I knew a lot about chronic conditions, Googling it as a sick person. So I did. I became, you know, a global ambassador for the American Brain Foundation and national chair of brain health and American Brain Foundation. So there were things that I could use from those experiences, and then, you know, started to realize, oh, okay, maybe I have the stamina, you know, that foundation, they need to raise funds for all these things. And I need to raise my funds for my creative life again. And it is such a thrill to start to learn to have the stamina again. And I am going to go back to work. And I am supposed to be doing a movie in the spring. And it is a human interest story, an animal story, a dog story that never gave up, and this dog gave everybody, you know, the impetus to keep trying harder. If this dog could keep, just so it's a beautiful, just human life story, but it, I find it really interesting that, yes, I'm going back to work in something that's just how can we inspire each other without, you know, patting ourselves on the back and this whole, you know, but how do you inspire people sometimes with your vulnerability? Because that is how I got through life, was kind of being miserable and a mean baby and all these things. So I got that down pat. Now I can get to use that in this new chapter of my life of being, you know, someone more like my mother or someone more like you, or, you know, the things that I admire so much about you as a single mother. And, you know, the sickness, once my son was born, yes, it made me feel like, again, I'm not enough. It's, you know.
You always felt you were not enough, because in fact, when I read in your book, you speak about, you compare yourself to your mother. That's what I see through the lines. You didn't say it, but one can feel it. Like your mother, she was abandoned by her first husband, from what I understand.
Yes, yes.
And then
as
she
cried.
cried.
She cried.
She
I
was
said,
sitting
Mom,
with you.
how'd you get over
She
it?
cried, and then she didn't
cried.
only cry.
She gave herself a week. She said, I locked myself in her room and played solitaire. And she said, that's it, I'm not gonna let this happen again. And she became a lawyer. And
she didn't
was
just
the
become.
first woman in her law school class.
She went to law school.
She went to law school and was the first woman in her law school class. And like you,
the first woman.
in her law school. She wasn't the first woman lawyer by
in the law school.
But it was, you know, it was the 60s. It was a time when women didn't even have a credit card of their own.
When I read your pages, I see your mom smoking.
Yeah.
And then crying, watching the kids,
and then
lock herself up, play solitaire, and then decide, now I'm done. I dry my tears, I'm going to law school. And then she becomes this powerful lawyer.
Yes.
You're looking up at her and you're like, I can never be like her.
It seems so far away. And it seems so far away to me. But now that I'm realizing that a lot of what I thought was less than was this also neurological fatigue I had every day, you know? And so I had to look back, and even in writing that simple but to me kind of heart-wrenching experience of writing that book was that it's just not over. Till it's over, you know, these are the stories I can not be ashamed of anymore.
We don't have to be
There's
that
no
strong. We
yes.
don't have to be. I mean, it's admirable. It's really
You
great
are
that you're,
that strong. It's easy
well,
for you to say we don't have to be that strong. I
totally
mean,
not
look,
strong, you know. I'm not strong
look,
at
the doors
all.
are breaking down, and then you're just keep going, and it's for your community, the people around you, and you've always considered everyone. I watch you, but it's funny now, you know, because I say to you, how do you learn? How did you ever? You said you listen. You are a listener. You see people, and that makes me shut my mouth. You know, like these past few days with you, it's like I'm gobsmacked, you know, and it has been so amazing being kind of in this like crash course and what your life is like, and as this incredible fighter for us, and someone that still wants to bring out, even in me right now, you know, the great things in me, and I'm still that person that's like, oh, don't worry about that. Let's, you know, it's just more comfortable. Yeah. But I do have incredible things going on.
You have inspired everyone here. You went in the parliament, you saw people, you spoke, you listened a lot.
It makes me so happy.
You even met our Prime Minister's cat,
Maximus.
And
there's so many people here. I've been so impressed with their...
And they were impressed with you too. And because of what you're sharing, it's a story of resilience, of hope.
It is. Resilience is something I never realized I had until people told me, you know, and then I look back at it, and it used to make me cry a little when I was writing this little book, but it is the resilience sometimes you realize, okay, well, that's something.
What gives you the feeling?
That's something.
What gives you the feeling now? What is the biggest feeling of freedom for you? Like right now, when you think about freedom, how would you say you feel about it? Like,
I mean, freedom is so much other. I mean, my God, freedom. I mean, I'm a simple girl. I just want to be in the ocean with my kid and my dog, and the 2 friends I have in life. You're one of them. No, but really, you know, there's just, I have a very freedom to me would, you know, not blaming myself for the opinions of other people. You know, I just put a lot of stock in other people because I discounted myself. Yeah. And it is, and so many people do it. So many young girls that I mentor.
They discount themselves.
They found me because I think they read this simple book and thought, oh, I can relate to this person just floundering, but there's a certain grit. And then I have met some young women that I'm in touch with every day, you know, that I've been with for, you know, 12 years, 10 years mentoring. And every day I just have to listen and stop myself from saying, no, stop putting yourself down, because I just want to wait for that inroad to where they see how incredible they are.
And do you see it more and more in yourself too, when you see it in others?
When I'm kind to myself, but no, yes. And it is really when I'm doing any work or creativity that connects me to people, because you do get out of the neighborhood of your head of the old stories, and I do now. I do.
What gives you hope, like today, generally? Going back to acting, or...
I do love being in a collaborative environment. I never was a good team sport player. I was a horseback rider, or a figure skater, or maybe a skier when I was young. But I never knew team sportsmanship until I became an actress. That was the closest thing. And so I think the thing that gives me the most joy, though, and again, I have to not beat myself up, but it is the simple things, because I do still, you know, have a chronic illness, and it is the things like reading and just enjoying moving my body while I still can. And so I think when I have that kind of gratitude, and I never thought of gratitude when I was young, that was corny and what do I have to be grateful of? I'm, you know, this terrible, mean baby. And some gratitude, but not ridiculous gratitude, really in balance, but I have gratitude. I know I do feel taken care of by this universe now that I've opened myself up to seeing other people.
You know, I'm wondering, though, when I look at your experience today and what you have been sharing with me and with other women the past couple of days, I'm wondering, like you played in, of course, I'm going to take one of the movies you played in as an example. You played in Legally Blonde.
Yes.
And we saw this story about women, about law school, about, you know, all this. Do you see things in reality that looks a bit like what was put on stage in Legally Blonde? You want to say about that?
Well, yeah. Are you the real life experience, how wild this was about the writer of Legally Blonde and all these things? I mean, one, the story of Legally Blonde, I had no idea, again, how relatable that would be to everyone. How much, you know, certain women were judged so much and thought, oh, you can't be doing that. The character of Elle Woods and you know, that this glamorous girl wasn't the plain Jane with the unmanicured nails like in my character. So that is the movie that every girl, every mom, everyone watches that with their children to say, you know, I don't know, it's just a great Technicolor American movie that, keep going with the question, we got me
I
off track.
watched it with my daughter.
Oh, did you?
That's like for the fourth time, and I told her, look, when you go to college, you have to study. That's the only way up. I'm like, look at this.
Oh, wait, okay, wait, so generational thing, the story, so when I did this, this is such a full circle moment. The woman that wrote, Amanda Brown, the woman that wrote the book, Legally Blonde, it was based on her true life. And she was this gorgeous California blonde, and she became a lawyer. And it was her real, kind of inspired, really, by her true story. And we became friends. In fact, she gave me some ruby slippers from Wizard of Oz, kind of this. And I used to scream, I have ruby slippers. And Amanda Brown just gave so many gifts. And
she's
so
supporting a
she
bookstore.
the most amazing thing about Amanda Brown, of course, Karen McCullough and other people wrote the script, Kiwi and Karen, but Amanda I became friends with. And now, her daughter, who I've known since she was born, when she was 15, Amanda helped her daughter and Amanda's husband, they helped their daughter at 15 open her own bookstore. And and she did it on her own. She curated all the books.
Transformation.
And it's I mean, the power of knowledge and enjoyment and reading, it's something, it really is kind of my real passion. Just reading what other people are writing, because that gets me thinking about myself in a way that takes it away. But to know that Amanda Brown's child then is the one curating more books for people to have. And the mom of Elle Woods in Legally Blonde is the director of the next movie I'm doing.
Oh,
that's what
really? The one you're doing in the spring?
Yes, the one I'm doing in the spring. The director of that movie is the one who played Elle Woods' mother. You know, this kind of sexy blonde Beverly Hills mother, you know, this kind of funny.
Really like that in Beverly Hills, or it was only in Legally Blonde?
No, have you not seen Beverly Hills Housewife? I don't think you have the time. I don't think you have the time, but yes, it is kind of, like that.
Thank you so much for being here, Selma. I thought, you know, it's so amazing to have a conversation with you because you're so real. It's so easy to connect to you and to find you where you are.
Thank you so much. And you need to find me where I am. I get a little off track, but no, I love this.
Like everyone. And I'm telling you, I'm not strong. I'm just letting myself be inspired by others like now. And I hope other people will be inspired with this too. And what my key takeaway from our conversation is do not discount yourself. Be kinder to yourself. And our mothers had their own fight wherever they were, and we have our own to do too. And this is very inspirational. Thank you so much.
And
good luck with the movie.
For being always a role model to me now. I mean,
me
really,
too.
you got a lot of pressure on you. So I'm going to be a great woman. I got a lot of big shoes to fill looking at you.
Thank you. Oh, and of course, I have a gift for you.
I love presents.
In the European Parliament, I don't know what kind of gift you expect. What do you think it is? A law book?
Is it a law book?
No.
I hope not. I'm like,
something.
This is oh my gosh.
Nice. You know, it's a very comfy.
Wait. This is not like a European Parliament thing.
No, that's
Thank you. I was like, what? What don't I know about your... You have a mascot?
This is now the new mascot.
Oh my
you
gosh,
can
this
use
is
it.
so
And
cute.
it's
What do I
very
do with
comforting.
this?
You put your hands in it and you can keep them warm.
It's a like a
It's
hand
like-
muff.
Yeah,
You used
it's
to
like-
say that as... I had... This is really cozy.
So
Thank you.
comforting.
Oh, well, I don't have my service
You can
dog
turn
to
it
get-
around if you want, if you don't want to see his face. Anyway.
I've just had enough of you. I must... This is really...
And
Thank
it's
you
so
for helping
soft,
me
look.
look like a capable woman. Just kidding.
Wow,
Yeah,
what
just-
are you speaking about? We just said in the podcast, do not discount yourself, so we need to do this again.
No, I'm just teasing. It's like, who would expect the woman that I admire most in the world now, the most capable,
that.
intelligent, and I'm like,
I love
this is right. Yeah. I love it.
In the Belgian rain, with that weather, you can keep your hands warm.
Thank you.